We've had a good debate today. Points have been made on both sides. There is a theme to some of the Republican amendments, we'll admit it, and that theme is not to scare the American public. That theme is to drive home that there are going to be costs to this. There are. In the testimony before,
and benefits.
Well, that's a debatable proposition, but at the appropriate time tomorrow we can have that debate. You know, I will grant that on your side you think you perceive there to be benefits, and if you'll grant on our side that we perceive that they're going to be real cost. We didn't have any testimony that didn't say that this act, if implemented, although that we didn't have the actual cap and trade allowance system that is now in your bill, wasn't going to have cost. Now, we've tried to put some price cap protection on various aspects of those, what we think will be real cost increases. We don't know what those costs are going to be. The Blackburn Amendment just simply says whatever it is, the American people have a right to know it. This amendment doesn't say spend the act. It's just a transparency amendment. That's all it is. 6 months, you've got a valid point. 6 months is not a reasonable amount of time. But you could take your remarks against Blackburn Amendment, strip out the word Blackburn, and put in the Waxman Amendment in the nature of a substitute, and we'd be making almost the same speech. So, you know, it is scary to think about some of these cost increases that are going to come down the road. It's very scary. Again, we've asked the CBO to score it. Hopefully they'll score the first 5 years, and we'll have it available before this markup concludes sometime this week. But I will point out that the EPA analysis, if you talk about doesn't pass the laugh test, the EPA analysis doesn't even attempt to cost Title II and Title IV of your amendment. It assumes a huge number of nuclear power plants being built in this country. It assumes compliance with Kyoto by the signatory countries at a time certain. It assumes an offset compliance internationally that is almost guaranteed not to happen. And so if you make all those assumptions, you can talk about $10 a ton emissions. But if you include some of the things and you use reasonable assumptions that the EPA didn't do, which the EPA even admits that some of their assumptions are questionable, you're not going to get $10 a ton. You're probably not going to get $20 or $30 or $40 a ton. You're going to get somewhere between $50 and $100 a ton. And at $50 to $100 a ton, the cost of this on an annual basis, even early years, is over $100 billion a year. So excuse us if we say, let's have a transparency amendment that exposes what these costs are. The American people have a right to know. One thing that we know on the Republican side is this is not a free lunch. You know, it is going to be costly. It may not be as costly as some of us fear it to be, but it is definitely going to be costly, and there should be some transparency. That's why this is an important amendment. And if you want to change the compliance date so that we have a little more time to get the data, if you don't trust your own EPA and you want to let the EIA do the data collection and review, those are amendments that we would certainly accept. At least I think the author of the amendment would accept. But the basic premise of transparency and accountability to the people who vote for us and elect us to represent them, that's not a laugh test, and we make no apologies for it. So I support the amendment.